No problem.
Cool. So yeah, man, we're here. Robert Sherrill, and this is a very, very authentic, raw, real podcast that I'm looking to start. So this is episode 1.
Straight up.
And it's the Believers Breed podcast. It's something that I wanted to start, and I'm just gonna be really candid for the people watching. At the beginning of 2019, I made a proclamation that I wanted to work with some people. Right? I made a post on Instagram. I added some people and said, man, I really aspire to work with these people in 2019. And I'm going to be very open and honest, man. For you to reach out to me and send me your cell phone number, and we never met, we never had a conversation, and you didn't say anything, you just sent me your cell phone number, and it's like, let's work.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in starting and setting the foundation for this podcast, I wanted to get somebody in here that had that same authenticity, that realness about themselves, because I see so many people that say that they're working and say that they have boots on the ground, they're looking to inspire the culture, but when you sent me that information, it let me know, like, this guy's for real about it. So I appreciate you being here for episode 1. And we're going to dive into your story, and we're going to figure out who Robert Sherrill is. So in looking at it, man, you're president, CEO, you got Impact Youth Outreach, you got Imperial Cleaning Systems, you got RCS Holdings, and a whole lot more. Co-founder of the Lab Nashville. But you tell us from your perspective, who exactly is Robert Sherrill?
Man, Robert Sherrill is a kid who came from nothing. When I'm talking like nothing. Robert Sherrill is a kid that, you know, at 8 years old, I lived a normal life. You know, I didn't know anything but a mom and a dad in the household, and, you know, properly prepared meals, and you know, riding my bike on a summer day, and just no worries, right? And then from going like overnight, going from a normal childhood, which is all I've ever known, to living in the projects. At that time, I didn't know, I just knew it was public housing, and the name of where I lived was Dodge City Projects, right? And so dynamics shifted, and the 2-parent household turned into a 1-parent household, and the properly prepared meals became scarce prepared meals, and I didn't have options of clothes. It came an option of 2 or 3 pairs of pants, and it just shifted. And you know, I noticed a shift. You know, when it happened, I was about 9 years old when we moved into the projects, right? And so, you know, at the time, I didn't know that, you know, crack cocaine was just really hitting the black community at this time. And my family just so happened to be a family that was a recipient of the wrath that came behind it, right? So my mom gets addicted to crack cocaine, and then so she's getting the government assistance check, and she's using that to get high instead of buying her kids food. Love my mom to death. Let me say that first and foremost. We have the best relationship right now, but I had to realize that it wasn't her. You know, when things get a hold on us, man, it get a hold on us, man. We're human, so we fall, you know, we fall victim to circumstances sometime, and that was just a circumstance she fell victim to, and I understand that now, and I like to say that because I don't want people to understand that, you know, no matter what happened to you in your life, you know, sometimes circumstances outweigh, you know, the human in us, you know, and so she did not want to take care of us. It's just the drug was preventing her from doing so. So I like to explain that, but yeah. So I started noticing, man, you know, the food went in the refrigerator. We really wasn't getting clothes like we normally would get. And, man, and Christmas would come, and, you know, no presents would be under the tree. I would have to go to school, be humiliated and talked about and things of that nature. And the pivotal moment happened when 13 years old, when I was coming home from John Early Elementary. I'll never forget it. I was a walker, and I was walking home. It was just a regular day, and when I get down to where we lived, I noticed that the little stuff we had was on the side of the road, man. Like literally just out there, and there's people picking through it, and I just stopped, and I was stared for me. I'll never forget it. I just stared, and then I looked around, and My mom wasn't there. My uncle, nobody was there to rescue me and tell me everything was gonna be okay. And I started to cry, man. I cried. I boo-hooed because I didn't understand what was going on. But I had enough sense to walk to my grandmother's house. It was about 2 hours away. And the whole time I walked, I told myself that when I grow up, I'm never gonna be broke again. I'm never gonna be broke again. I remember I repeated it maybe over 1,000 times, like literally. Because all that frustration and things and being talked about in school and not having it came out, and I just and that did something to me psychologically that day. I changed. I was not little Robert no more. You know, I changed from a boy to a man at that moment.
Wow. You can keep it rolling too.
Yeah.
You wanna
Your
cell
phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it keep
You know you're a busy man, so
I'm sorry.
you good.
Okay.
So I appreciate you, being so open about that background. And so obviously at that point, when you stood in front of their house and you see people rummaging through your stuff, and you had this moment, you became, as you said, a man, and you made a commitment to never be broke again. Now, what did you do at that point? What changed in your life at that moment? And what decisions did you begin to make as a 13-year-old kid?
What I've noticed, and through my nonprofit now, I cater to inner city at-risk youth. And what I've noticed in this journey of mentoring and pouring into kids is that we all want to be a part of something. Okay, we are wired to be a part of a family, to want love, to be accepted into a pack. It's just the way of the world. That's how it goes. And what I've learned is when the first family structure breaks down, then you go and seek that structure elsewhere. And elsewhere may not be for the betterment of you. It may not be in your best interest. But because we yearn for that so much, you're willing to accept anything. And my family, second family, was the gang, was my gang, right?
Gotcha.
Because they loved me, they accepted me. It came with a lot of responsibilities and weight and heartache, but at the end of the day, they loved me, so I thought. You know what I'm saying? And so I went straight to the gang, stopped going to school, started running the streets. Where I was started off doing petty crimes. Man, I got a mug shot, bro, when I was about 13, man. It's amazing. That's the only shot, because when we got put out, a lot of our pictures got lost. Bro, I have no pictures from when I was a child. None. And what I've learned is I covet pictures of me. Not in the sense, it's just I have none. So when I'm in a news article and or anything, I grit it, I frame it, and I put it up somewhere. And I was asking myself, like, why do I do that? It's because I lost it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So but yeah, I started running with the gang, started doing petty crimes, got my first charge when I was 13. It was vandalism, just being mischievous as a child. Didn't make it out of the 9th grade. Didn't make it out of 9th grade. I don't know how to do an algebra problem. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know where to start. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. And so started running with the gangs, doing this and that, and then I was like, okay, this petty stuff is getting old. I need some money, right? So of course I'm seeing all my cousins, God bless his soul, Montez and my cousin Gary. They lived on like 2 streets over from my grandmother, and so I would go over there and hang out with them. And be like, hey man, I was very upfront as a young guy. I was like, hey man, y'all teach me how to sell dope. They're like, man, get your butt out of here, you can't even sell no dope. So I'd be mad, but I was consistent. So I'm like, man, I gotta make some money. I want to make some money. And a couple times after coming back and asking them to help, to help me learn how, they finally showed me the game. And once I learned the game, man, I started making money. But then another thing happened. I got addicted to cocaine. What I've learned is each year or each, how can I say it, millennial, like every other 5 years a trend happens and things change. So back when I was, the drug of choice when I was young was cocaine and weed and Valiums. Then 5 or 10 years, it changes, right? Then you got ecstasy pills and codeine and all that. Then it changes again. Then you got this high class weed, and you got these Roxys, and you got, you know, these kids now, they on heroin and stuff now.
Yeah.
So it's just then methamphetamines, and it's just, it evolves. But back when I was young, it was cocaine. So I was snorting cocaine at 14 and 15. Like,
Wow.
I'm doing hard drugs as a child, bro. So I was strung out and didn't even know it. I'm thinking it's cool. And we running around here, we making money, but we spending it right back to get high. And then I was like, man, I'm an addict, man. I'm a 15-year-old addict at this time, right? No education, doing nothing, being mischievous. So I end up, a moment came, a transitional moment happened when the police was trying to come and buy 2 pounds of weed from me. At this time, they didn't know that I was about to rob them, right? They're thinking they're coming to do a sting on me. But in my head, we've already plotted to rob them. So they came, somehow, this 16-year-old child masterminded a whole robbery with the task force of the Metro Police Department and got away. They came and set me up. I robbed them and got away.
As a 16-year-old kid.
As a 16-year-old kid, man. But 2 days later, they brought the TBI in. TBI caught, they beat the crap out of me. I was yelling, I'm a juvenile. They said, we don't care, you robbed the police. Because think about it. This is what they do. How do you think this man had to go back to his commander and explain to him how a 16-year-old boy just got away with $3,500 in police money and got away? Like, he couldn't explain it. He probably lost his job. I don't know. If you out there, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward it real quick. So I ended up getting 2 years at Taft Youth Development Center. Good thing and bad thing that happened to me. I went to juvenile, and I ended up getting my GED while I was there. But what it did was get me deeper into the gang life. Because basically what that did was take my North Nashville network and expand it. So I got to meet kids of my same caliber from
different parts of the city. Yeah.
So when I got out, I had a network now. So now I got a network. So it just made me more of a drug dealer upon my release. So once I got out, I went back to the streets, got heavy in the drug game, started selling kilos of cocaine. I mean, I was rich. I was hood rich, so to speak. Private jetting, strip clubs, trips, hanging out with NFL players, rappers, jewelry, cars, motorcycles, women, all of that comes along with it, right? But then one day, I got popped. The FBI got me. So, and that's when everything changed. That's when everything changed. I got popped by the FBI and sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. And that's when my life changed.
So you had the experience in juvenile, and you got out of juvenile and went back to the streets. And then fast forwarding, after attaining so much from the streets, you went to jail, you went to federal prison. But something had to change either while you were in prison or getting out of prison to make this light bulb go off to say, all right, I'm done with it. I'm wiping my hands with it. What happened? What was that light bulb moment?
At this time, I had 2 children.
Okay.
I had a wife. And my daddy, when I was 16, died in prison. So at this time in my life, I'm older, I'm a little smarter, been through a lot. So I'm starting to process things differently because I got a kind of a different perspective, because up until this point, I really had nothing to lose, you know. But now I got children I got to think about. You know, it's time to stop being selfish and making things all about Robert and start looking out for the best interests for those around me. And so just processing that, man, and then I start to read, and, you know, ironically, I've always been in the church. My Aunt Charlene, I love her to death. She's gone now. But It's crazy. She died, and she waited till I got out to die. I guess it's just weird. I'm not gonna go into that right now. But all I'm gonna tell you is that she kept me in the church, and so I've always had this connection with God. And I used to pray for my mom that she'd get off drugs one day and things like that. But you know, when we grow up, we listen to our mom's religion, our grandmom's religion, and stuff like that. So I start to have a little doubt. I'm like, well, you know, hey, is this true? Like, is Jesus real? Like, I mean, I just adopted it because my mama and grandmama said he was who he said he was. And so I was like, you know what? So I'm gonna spend this time to get to know who God is. You know what I'm saying? And I did that like the real way. Like, got in school. A lot of people don't know Robert Sherrill has a bachelor's degree in religious studies. Like, nobody knows that. You know what I'm saying? Really never broadcasted nothing because I didn't do it for the paper. I did it for the curriculum so I could really learn hermeneutics and how to read and properly exegete the word and all of this stuff, grammatical structure and everything that comes along with really, really learning how to study and pulling out God's original intent. But what happened was, allowed me to do all this or made me want to do all this, A, is that I didn't know if the God that I was serving was real because I got it from my grandmama and them. But B, is when the holdover on my way to the feds, the transition place they send you before you go to your main prison, I met this guy and he was a Muslim. And you know, no shame against Islam or nothing like that. It's not my religion, but you know, this guy, you know, he was very smart and knew a lot, not only of the Quran but of the Bible. And so he raised a lot of doubt. You know what I'm saying? And had me in there prostrating, washing before I prayed, and I was just confused for a minute. I was like, hold up. But I never would denounce, though. He was like, you ready to come to Islam? I'm like, no, I'm Jesus is my God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what. So, but I'm glad that happened because it made me want to be an apologist. You know, apologist is the defender of the faith. You know, 90% of Christians are biblically illiterate. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to know.
You want the real thing, yeah.
I want the real thing, and I started that journey, and man, I came out emboldened and strengthened to be who God intended for me to be, because for some reason, while I was in prison, all this is going on. This is I'm giving you, I've never broken this down like this. This is all what played into the Robert Sherrill you got here today. All that going on. And so in doing that, it's causing me to really, really look back at my life. Because, you know, you read so much and so you start to reflect on your life and how you could change things. And so why did I go through all of this? You know, why was my mom on drugs? God, so I'm, you know, man, I'm knowing you now, so we got an intimate relationship, so I need you to talk to me. You see what I'm saying? Let me know what's happening, you know? And out of all of that, I learned that God took me through all of that because he knew that I would be able to tell the story and that I wouldn't be ashamed to tell it. Because most people, what I've learned recently, after I did this huge conference, I was the keynote, how many execs came to me and told me stuff they've never told people in life. They wives of 30 years don't know the stuff these people told me. So what they told me is that most people have a story to tell, but they're scared of what people may think, so they won't tell it. And in doing that, you're taking power away because you don't know how many lives you can change, right? So God said, but I know Robert Sherrill.
You got me, yeah.
He gonna tell it. He ain't gonna he gonna stand up there and tell y'all the real. That's what I need, soldiers like him. So let me get all this together, take him through that, because when he overcome and I bring him out, he gonna tell his story and he gonna affect change in the community that he used to destroy. Wow. So all of that, bro, is what changed me, man. All of that, reflecting my daddy dying, my mom on drugs. Like, I'm like, oh my God. But I'm like, I'm stronger. You know, storms are not meant to break us; they meant to make us stronger. See, we get it mixed up. See what I'm saying? And so, in knowing all of that, bro, that's what done it for me. And when I got out, I was empowered. I was inspired to go forth and do something great. You know, and I haven't stopped, bro. Like, I had purpose when I got out, because I knew that I could overcome, and I knew that I could get out and be successful despite of my past.
Wow. So, okay, so now we know where the light bulb went off and where life changed, and now you're a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I mentioned again, co-founder of the Lab Nashville, Impact Youth Outreach, RCS Holdings, author, best-selling author.
Yeah.
But it seems like as you begin to clean your life up, you started with your baby of Imperial Cleaning Systems. And so talk to us about how you became an entrepreneur and how you took those street smarts, made that transition, and started your own.
So right before I went, I was greedy. I loved money before I went to prison, right? You know, people say, man, money ain't real, it's the paperwork. So, but try living without it then, my friend. Yeah, since money's not all that, well, just try living without it. See how you feel after that's over with. So I was greedy. You know, I was selling kilos of cocaine. I was going to Millamont Technical College to be an electrician, and I had bought initially a cleaning franchise. So I was on point. Like, before I even went to prison, I've always been that dude I was a hustler. You know what I'm saying? I'm a businessman by nature. I remember, I tell people this story, when we lived in the projects, right, we ain't had nothing, right? So I devised a plan. So I did two things. I used to cut hair. I taught myself how to cut hair. So I used to cut the guy's hair right before we go back to school and make money like that. Then I also had this trash business. So how I started my trash business is I was like, trash, I said, I can go knock on people's door, and I say, if you sign a contract, because we did trash twice a week, right? So if I would randomly knock on your door, and whenever you just felt like let me do it, it cost you 50 cents, and I'll take your trash out, right? But if you signed a contract and let me do it twice a week, it's only a quarter. So I was already learning.
You already had that mindset.
I already had that mindset. So I knew who my people was. I knew who signed, who said I could come twice a week, and I knew those one-time people. You know what I'm saying? And so that's that. So it was always in me, and it just grew and grew and grew. So before I went to prison, like I said, I had the janitorial company and things of that nature. And what I knew in prison while I was sitting there is that when I get out, I can't go just get no regular job. A regular job is not going to pay me enough money to take care of my wife, take care of my kids, pay mortgage, do all of that. Like, I knew that. So I knew whatever I did, it would have to be for me. I would have to start my own business and be an entrepreneur. And the industry I had vast knowledge of was just janitorial, you know? And so when I got out, what people don't know is when you get out the federal prison, they don't allow you to go work for yourself. You can't own a business or nothing. You have to go to a federal halfway house and stay there. All right? And it's for 6 months, but you can cut that in half if you get a job. So my second day out, I landed a job at Maggiano's. No, I take that back. Second day out, I landed a job at Demos. 2 days later, I landed a job at Maggiano's, so I worked both. I was a host in the day, and I was a food runner and busser at night, right? Okay. Hey,
Yeah, I just love
hey,
it.
Little centipede.
Yeah, little centipede, man. Yeah.
Sorry to take your
I'm
life.
sorry, brother. You was messing my story up. But I was a food runner. I was a food runner at night at Maggiano's and host by day at Demos. And I worked them both for a minute. And then after that, you know, I got tired of the Demos job because they really weren't paying nothing. Like I said, livable wage, man. I got to live. This money ain't nothing. When I tell you nothing. And so Maggiano's gave me a chance, so I worked my butt off all of 13. When I tell you I worked my butt off. And and in my head, and I tell people this, I said, you know, here I am, and in my head, I'm like, well, man, maybe I could manage this place, man. Maybe I could be a manager and move up the corporate ladder. So God said, oh, so you want to be a manager? I had thoughts of you being a CEO, but since you want to be a manager, I'm going to sit right here and let you be a manager. Okay, go ahead. So for a year, I just slaved like a dummy. Didn't even know that, see, the plans, he got CEO plans for me. But I had a manager mentality. See, we got to be careful how we limit ourselves mentally.
That's good.
Because I thought that because I was a felon, that this is it for me, right? And a lot of people do that. We defeat ourselves mentally, right? And so God was like, okay, go on, manager. Holler at me later.
When you get done managing.
Right. And so never made it to management, never made it to supervisor. I was a buster, man. I bought you bread and water. That was what I did, right? And I'm trying to move up. Got employee of the month twice, 2 months in a row. So it came down to this day. Here's my watershed moment. So I went in there, it's my evaluation day. So I go in there, I'm like, woo, I've been slaving, I've been working doubles. I've been there every weekend, the whole year, and didn't go out to clubs, didn't go do nothing. Man, I went in there, did this evaluation. These folks gave me 10-cent raise. Man, I lost it. I couldn't believe that. I thought that if you work hard, you be consistent, and do your part, then the karma and the way things gonna go, it's gonna line up for you, bro. And it didn't, 10 cents. But I needed that, because that 10-cent raise is why I'm here today. Because 2 weeks after that, I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I was out of there.
Wow.
And I quit with nothing, but I knew I was going back to the janitorial company. But this is the crazy thing about it. I'm gonna drop another nugget on you. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So while I was in prison, having all these, things come together mentally and emotionally and spiritually for me, I devised a plan though of action to implement once I was released. And in that plan, Imperial Cleaning Systems was in that plan, bro. Imperial Cleaning Systems was 5-6 years before its inception, right? The Journey Back to Now, my book, was 7 years before its inception. I wrote 20 chapters. They threw it away. Threw my whole book away. Cause see, it wasn't my time to write it. You see what I'm saying? So that plan, that Imperial Cleaning Systems plan, all of that, I finally, when I put in my 2 weeks notice, that 10 cent, that's my thing. 10 cent started this thing. Okay? Yeah. So what I did was I went home and I don't care who you is, what prison you in, what state you from. When you come home, you got sacked. I don't know in the movies, you know how they see the man walking out the gate. Hey, that's your books, your little plans. Boy, it gets serious. I gotta tell y'all this. So y'all know in the magazine when you turn the page, you got the cologne, right? You peel it back and you can
scratch it off and smell it.
That's all we had, right? So what I would do, I'm a cologne connoisseur. So I would tear the pages out and save and put in my little folders. Like, ooh, when I get out, I'm gonna buy that. When I get out, I'm gonna buy that. So I had a list of restaurants I wanted to frequent, a list of colognes I wanted to buy. And so when I came out, that set, a lot of my plans and stuff was in there. So I dusted it off, pulled out Imperial. Went to Howard School, started my business. And man, that's how I went back into, that's how Imperial was birthed. It was thought of years before it was implemented, but that industry was chosen before I went to prison.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, so you already had that drive, that entrepreneur mindset to go get it.
I was a hustler.
Yeah,
so
it was in.
Dope don't sell itself. You have to take the product and you have to market it in such a way, and it has to have a certain type of quality in order for you to make sales and be successful. So everything that I did every day of my life, selling drugs and all that, it's the same concept, just a different product.
Different product. Wow. So how did you take that system and grow it? Because so many people have ideas and they start with one thing, but this is the day and age where it doesn't work in 4 or 6 months. I'm done with it. I throw it away. But what made you stick with it? How did you grow it? And then how did you begin to branch off into other things?
Man, this is what I learned. When failure is not an option, there ain't no other option. So failure was never an option. I didn't have no choice but to make it. Like seriously, I was we had one, oh my God, man, when I got out, I was broke. You know, so when I say, I have to say broke, because I was broke, like the real broke. You got to really, it's crazy these days, you got to specify that. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like the real broke, meaning not even $2, right? I had nothing, no car, I had no license, credit was shot. Oh my God, shot. 6, 7, 8 pages full of stuff just on my credit. I was messed up, clothes outdated, right? I had nothing when I got out, and so when I say that is my wife's car was a Toyota Camry, and you could let the seats from the trunk, you could let the seats down, and I would squeeze. I was a master in packing. I could pack a car down, man. Literally, like
Tetris,
bruh, Tetris with that with cleaning equipment. So this is how I started. I started in that car. The car's still running. I sold it to one of my employees. The car's still running.
Wow.
Got 340,000 miles on it, but it's still running. Somebody stole it the other day, but they found it and they got it back. So that car, I got love for that car. I might just buy it and put it in my garage. But so I used to put my buffers and everything in the trunk, man. I would ride around like I was a hustler, bro. I would just get out there and literally put on my little Steve Harvey suit. Cause you know, I had no clothes, you know, it's outdated. You know, people just start wearing tight clothes. Let's just get that understood. That tailored look and all that, we just started. You know.
Steve Harvey got
I was trying to, I had pictures, man, it's crazy. I would dress up and ride around. And I would say, hey, can I buff your floor? Can I hit a card? And just trying, right? I end up getting a payday loan, getting some people loan me some money, because when you get out, man, you ain't got nothing. So you ain't got nothing to pawn. If you ain't got nothing to pawn, and your banks ain't messing with you, because you don't make enough money for them to give you no money. So I had to go kind of a non-traditional route to get some funding. It wasn't illegal though, so that's the blessing in that. So I used that money to it helped me invest in my company. But then that didn't stop there. So I'm getting some business and things are picking up. So I bought a red Chevy Venture, all red van, but it was mine. And I had my equipment in the back and I was grinding. Motor blew up. Boom. I had a little money. Went, bought an all blue Astro van. 2-3 months, motor blew up. Boom. Then I finally bought a 99 Ford F-250 big van. And then that's how I started Imperial, man. I just was grinding, bro. It was tough. It was real tough. People didn't believe in you. You know, I'm a mom and pop company, and I'm in there. I did quality work though, you know. And so, like I said, I couldn't fail, man. So I had to make it work. And so, and that's what I did. And so networking, you know, they say your network is your net worth, and that's true. So networking and going to events and meeting people, man, I'm a people person. So, you know, I understand the importance of cultivating relationships, you know. And so I would get to know people, and I would get on people's nerves, man. One of my biggest contracts to this date, it took me 3 months to get the contract, but I begged him relentlessly. I would call him every 2 weeks. He wouldn't answer the phone. I'd shoot him a text message. He wouldn't answer the text message. I'd shoot him an email. Finally, and there's a story in the Bible that talks about this. The man kept going to the king. The king was like, "Oh man, just take it, right?" And that's what he said. He said, "Oh my God!" This is what he said. He said, "Oh my God, you can have the contract." Gosh, that's what he said to me. But I was smiling. So I don't know if that hurt me in life, because you can't tell me no. See, I'm coming. You know, like, man, I just told me this Robert keep calling me. Yeah, I did. I blew you up, brother. Man, you blow me up. Yeah, I did that. Because guess what? I'm gonna get what I want. And I did. I think that messed me up when that happened, because there can't nobody tell me no. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, I started going and landing my first huge contract with him. My second new huge contract came. I went and got a minority certified, and then I got I'm a DBE as well. I'm a disadvantaged business enterprise as well with the governor's office. Once I got certified, I went into this contract and I entered into a construction management class with Skanska and HCA. So the HCA building on Charlotte right now, My team was responsible for that. Yeah. And so I landed that contract, and man, after that, things start going up. You know, credit, great, all of that. But the one thing about it is when you ain't used to having, when you've lost a lot, and then you get it back, you kind of fall back a little bit into that mentality in a sense, because I'm like, all right, I'm up again. So yeah, I'm out in the club, I'm popping bottles, I'm CLS 500 bins, and so I spent a lot of money, man, that I wish I could get back. You know what I'm saying? Ain't a day go by I don't think about that money. But I also made some smart investments. I'm a businessman. And despite all of the ups and downs in my life and the thing, I've always been smart, and I've always been a businessman. And so I started investing in property, man. I started buying houses, bro, like literally by myself. Like nobody even knows that I own $1 million in real estate. Nobody even knows it. I just was buying. I had this, I just was going at it, bro. Like I'm riding around. I'm like, ooh, call my team. Hey, I want this house. And within 45 days, I'll be at closing. I got every pen that I close with in my safe. I have every pen for every contract, and I've signed to buy a house. I have them, and I keep them. You know, and I say, I take the pen. Whatever pen I sign my name with, I take it.
It's yours.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a head start on Nashville then.
Yeah.
Because now it's crazy.
Oh, it's crazy. Man.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So, real quick, after I started being successful and then I started buying real estate, I understood that the janitorial industry is up and down a lot. You feel what I'm saying? And so, you know, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And I don't want nobody to be control of my future. Like, I don't want, if I'm working for you and I got a contract with you and you send me a 30-day notice and the contract worth $300,000, like I don't want to be that guy. So I start to make other investments. And as a businessman, the same principles apply, you know, regardless of what industry you cross into. And so once you understand that system, there's nothing that you can't go out and do. And in being a shrewd businessman at that point, I invested in a collaborative co-working space with a friend of mine, and called the Lab Nashville, and it's currently one of the hottest co-working spaces. We was just recognized by the Nashville Business Journal in the top list of co-working spaces in Nashville. So shout out to the Nashville Business Journal for that. We appreciate that. So that's doing good. It's like a hub. It's like an entrepreneurship hub because we host classes. You can come there and work. And we also use it as event space. You know, it's somewhere where Nashville connects. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it's in my old neighborhood. So.
Now, let me ask you something about that.
Let's pause there.
Okay. All right, we're good. So you mentioned going into a partnership for the lab. I want to say it's Josh Mundy.
Yeah. And
you also said that is a co-working space. Can you tell people that are looking to broaden their network, how exactly do you go about building those relationships? Who to partner with, who to say no to, who to say yes to? What does that look like for you?
You have to vet people, man. And look, let me be totally transparent right now. I wouldn't advise anybody to go into business with family. So going into business with the right person is a great thing. But finding that right person is few and far in between. I happen to look up and find a good business partner. But I really wouldn't advise. If you do, vet that person. Vet their past performance. See what notable projects they've been involved in. You know, check them out, man, because, you know, some people that ain't right out here in these streets. And so you got to be careful because you don't want it to become violent. You know, people don't play about their money. You know, you scamming people out of $40,000, $50,000. You know, that's not a good thing for nobody. And so just vet them. But you can always do business with someone. You don't have to just go into business with them. You know, I do business with a lot of people that I wouldn't dare go into business with. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about cultivating the proper relationships and being intentional about, even though this person may be a good or bad business partner or person to do business with, it's important that you still get to know them, get to know their services, and try to network as much as possible.
That's good stuff. That's good information to know, man. Because I think so often we have these good ideas, and we usually like to share them with the people that we're closest with, which are often our friends or family. But those aren't necessarily the business relationships that you should go into.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's good that you talked about that vetting and seeing what projects that people have worked on. So I think
and find you a mentor. Oh my God, my mentors, I love y'all. Y'all know who y'all. I can do it without y'all. Man, my mentors are great. Mentor. Find someone who's been where you're trying to go and get under their wing. That's the best thing you can do.
So how would you approach someone that you say, that's a person that's been where I'm going? What do you say? How do you approach them?
Man, me, I'm just a real dude. Hey, I've been watching you doing awesome things in the community. I want to be like you. I'm serious. Like, what we need to do? What can I do? Can I shadow you? I work for free. What do you want me to do? Tell me what I can do to get you to mentor me. Like, you see how I was like totally honest with them? That's how you do it. Like, you gotta humble yourself, man. You can't go, in there like you hot stuff. Okay, so I had a mentor in prison. His name was Michael Flemings, and he tells this story. He was, he had 14 years for healthcare fraud. He didn't necessarily do it, but because he was the CEO of a company that somebody did it, it fell on him. He took it to trial because he's like, I didn't do it. But because he owned the company, it fell on him. He ended up going to prison. I love this guy. Still talk to him now. He's out of Dallas, Texas. His name Michael Flemings. Okay, so he used to tell this story real quick, and he was trying to get a mentor, right? And so the guy agreed to meet with him. And so when they were sitting down, Mike is smart. He's a genius. Never met a genius. Michael Flemings is a genius. No, a real one though. A guy that knows nothing about electricity. Or you can bring an electrical book to him, electrician book to him, and then he can look at it and then start teaching it to you. He taught every class in federal prison: business management, financial management, investments, everything. This guy's a real genius. He could do math problems a yard long. Like, he's a real genius, right? And I noticed that, so I got up under his wing, So he talks about the guy sitting down, and he's hot stuff, and he knows he's a genius. So he sits down and he gets to doing this, and the guy's just sitting there looking at him. He's talking about, I'm doing all this those stuff. So the guy starts to pick his stuff up, and so Michael's like, "Where you going?" He's like, "You're talking." He's like, "What?" He was like, "You asking me to be your mentor, and then you sit down and doing all this talking." He said, "You trying to get what I got. I don't need you. So you need to sit down and shut the fuck up." That's what he told him. And that's what he used to tell us. And guess what we used to do? Sit down and shut the hell up. Because you learn better that way.
Right.
So that's my thing with the mentor thing. So get you a mentor.
Gotcha. And so lastly, I just want to ask you, man, about where do you see yourself going? So you have a bunch of projects, you got your hand in the lot, you got a book. I don't know if you want to mention about what you got planned with your author life, but where do you see yourself going? What's next?
Honestly, man, I know, because I know what I want to do, but I got to make sure that I'm in alignment with God. I truly believe my purpose is to continue to inspire and change lives through my story, and definitely that's what I'm going to continue to do through whether it be through entrepreneurship, through speaking, through my books, or through impact. That's crazy. I'm glad you asked that, because now I see God has taken every avenue that I've traveled, and use it to still motivate others. So I know that's my purpose. So I'm gonna continue to do that, but just on a grand scale. I got a second book on the way. Implementing a workforce development program, first of its kind, through my nonprofit. I'm scaling my business more. I'm doing more speaking engagements. So through all of that, I just want to continue to help people, man. That's it. That's all Robert Sherrill want to do. I don't care about nothing else. The money, the fame, I don't. That's. I've had money. I'm okay now. I'm not lacking nothing. What empowers me is when others are blessed by my story. When others email me and talk. Man, let me share something with you, man. Like, I don't really tell. So many people, I didn't even know I had that amount of influence. People from prison write me. Mothers call me crying, and the kids look up to me. I've become this iconic kind of dude on a small scale, and with that comes a burden, and the burden is just to continue to be great and continue to do you. And so I just want to do that, man. Like I always tell my friends, what's living and being rich has no value if you don't change the lives of anybody else, man, before you die. You know why? Because I've seen a lot of my friends die, and when you've lived a life that wasn't that great, people don't really talk about you, man.
It's true.
Like, we don't talk about my cousin no more. Like, we love him, he lived, but it was like he never lived. Because he didn't do anything of value and notable. He was a problem child, you know what I'm saying? Selling dope, he died, got shot in the head by this guy that he was trying to rob. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? That scares me. Because it's like you never lived. You was born and God had these expectations for you, but you fell short, so it's just like you were never here. That scares me. When after I'm gone, I want my name, just like we talk about Achilles and all these Hercules and all these mythical whatever, but we still talk about them. King Arthur and all them. I want to be like that. I want my name. Yeah, man. That's what it's about with me, man. So that's it. To inspire, help others, and leave a legacy. That's Robert Sherrill's story.
Wow. I got this balloon in my pocket, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blow it up, and while I'm blowing it up, I want you to think about one word that prevents people from taking action in their life. Wow. And we're gonna write it on this balloon.
Let's do it.
All right?
Let's do it.
I ain't the greatest balloon blower, but I'm gonna figure it out. All right, so one word. People's opinion. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the air out of people's opinion, and we're gonna take action.
Let's do it.
All right. So tell people where they can find you.
Y'all find me. I'm on all social media handles. Robert C. Sherrill on Instagram. The same on Facebook. If you want to know anything about Robert Sherrill, you can go to www.robertcsherrill.com. That's me. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to go, bro.